You have to remember, I think it depends on what you're asking. If you're talking in terms of numbers, no. Kevin Durant has to be more offensively efficient than 6 for 19 shooting and 22 points. He's when healthy and fully in rhythm, fully in gear, he's considered the second best player on the planet. So when you look at it from that perspective, clearly there's going to be some leaning on him to do. But when you look at the fact that Russell Westbrook, obviously fully capable of stepping in and carrying the freight, and more than willing to do so. What I was pleased about last night, and maybe Skip saw it differently, but for me, I saw a Russell Westbrook literally looking to get Kevin Durant involved early, understanding that it was his first game back, a regular season-wise, in quite a long time. And it was once Kevin Durant clearly didn't have his complete rhythm that Russell Westbrook said, enough of this, I'm going to take over. Let's also keep in mind that last night is an aberration in this respect. Yeah, you might have to go through San Antonio, but you're not going to be the Kevin Durant last night as the season progresses. He was rusty, he wasn't himself, and he was going up against the reigning defensive player of the year in Kawhi Leonard, who's just a bad boy and very, very deserving of every penny that he received this offseason. You got Kawhi Leonard up against you, you've got to bring your A game. Kevin Durant didn't have his A game. So Russell Westbrook tried to get him involved, but then after that, basically picked up the slack, did what he needed to do, along with Dion Waiters and others, and ultimately pulled out the victory. I think that level of unselfishness, I think that level of recognition, understanding when and where to put, to push the pedal to the metal. I mean, I just think that that's the kind of thing that ultimately is going to help you capture the West if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder. So in that regard, I definitely believe we saw, what I anticipated we'd see for the Thunder to be successful. But I will acknowledge that Kevin Durant obviously would have to play better, and I believe he will play better. It's just game one of an 82-game regular season, and he was going up against Kawhi Leonard.
So just for the record, to your point about early on, Russell tried to get KD involved more.
At the very beginning, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
well, it must have been at the very, very beginning, because in the first quarter, Russell took 9 shots to Kevin's 5, just for the record.
Yeah.
But I get where you're going. I get where you're going. Okay,
Yep.
I got to throw this game out to your point about how will Durant and Westbrook coexist this year, and could Kevin coexist enough that he would take the back seat to Russell Westbrook's MVP season this year? And by the way, he was sensational last night, to your point about you think he will be the MVP. This was the San Antonio Spurs, who are an awful matchup for Kevin Durant and a great matchup for Russell Westbrook. Tony Parker, I'll be the first to admit to you, Stephen A. Smith, cannot guard Russell Westbrook. So once Tony's on the floor, you're a liability at that position. And I do not blame Russell for saying, give me the ball and get out of my way. I can take Tony Parker. I can go up over him. I can blow by him. I can do just about anything I want to Tony Parker. Even though Tony's a pretty good defender, this is just a bad matchup. You could argue with me, everybody's a bad matchup for Russell Westbrook, but Danny Green plays Russell pretty well. And down the stretch, later in the game, Danny Green took him and kept him to a low roar late in the game and allowed the Spurs to get back in the game. But Kawhi Leonard just does a number on Kevin Durant. Kevin went 6 for 19, as you know. And if we want to talk about the MVP of this game last night, to my eyes, the best player on the floor was Kawhi Leonard. Because remember, overall, Kawhi Leonard goes 13 of 22. Russell went 12 of 23. So, and the number that Kawhi did on everybody, that, he comes off his guy and gets his hands swiping balls, stealing balls, deflecting balls. And he was really disrupting Kevin Durant last night. So that was an early MVP-style performance from Kawhi Leonard. But back to the game. It was a heck of a basketball game, a great opening night game. And in the very end, Russell Westbrook missed a big shot. Danny Green was on and missed a jump shot that could have closed the door and opened the door back up for the Spurs to get a shot to either tie or go ahead. And what did my friend Danny Green do? He took one of the worst shots that a Popovich player has ever taken in a clutch spot. I don't know what he was thinking. He came off a pick. Steven Adams came back over on him, and he just had no shot and tried to shoot it over what's Steven Adams, 7'2" or whatever he is. And he got a shot blocked. He had to throw it straight up into the rafters, and it was an awful Spurs possession. LaMarcus Aldridge, he wasn't sure how to fit in the clutch situations. He was 0 for 4 in the fourth quarter. So my Spurs are going to have to figure out the pecking order when it comes time to close the game. I thought Kawhi deserved to have the ball in his hands late, and I thought he could have out-Westbrooked Westbrook late in the game, but he just didn't get the ball in the two big clutch situations.
Well, when you talk about people who deserve the ball, outside of Tim Duncan, that's not the way I view San Antonio running this system in terms of an individual having the ball. Like, clear everything out. I'm going to handle this. They move a lot without the ball. There's movement, all right, with the ball. Without the ball, there's always movement in both scenarios. And when you really want to give it to somebody for money time, it's Tim Duncan. Where it's going to be an adjustment for San Antonio this year is clearly this team has been handed over to Kawhi Leonard.
Yep.
This dude is the future star of this franchise because he does it on both ends of the floor, and he's so exceptional defensively, and he's gifted enough offensively that you feel the need to give him an opportunity to be that guy on the offensive end of the floor because of what he does for you defensively. And I think that as the season progresses, you'll see him. I mean, what I saw wasn't about the 22 shots he took. It was about the fact that he did it unconsciously. It's clear that he has the green light, and it's clear Greg Popovich and the crew have no problem with it whatsoever. LaMarcus Aldridge will fit in. It's his first game with the San Antonio Spurs. He's too gifted, too talented. We've seen how sensational he can be. It's just one game. But Kawhi Leonard and LaMarcus Aldridge are the future of this franchise. And I think that everybody knows that. In the case of Oklahoma City, however, look, man, Russell Westbrook is a superstar. And you talk about how it was a good matchup for Kevin. It wasn't a good matchup for Kevin Durant, but it was a good matchup for Russell Westbrook. Let me ask you this question, Skip, rhetorically. Who the hell can guard Russell Westbrook?
I agree.
There is no one.
Yeah.
There is no one. As far as I'm concerned, if you took it on a one-on-one level, every game is a good matchup for Russell Westbrook because I think he is absolutely, positively unguardable. You might help out for him on a possession or whatever, but in terms of having him as a defensive assignment for 25, 30-plus minutes, I don't care who it is, even if it's LeBron, even if it's Kawhi Leonard, it don't matter who it is, even if it's Tony Allen, who we both know to be a great defender. You don't want no parts of Russell Westbrook. Nobody wants no parts of Russell Westbrook. This brother's unstoppable.
I got it, but I'm going to tell you again, of the Spurs, Danny Green can bother him because Danny's 6'6" and has pretty quick feet and is so smart and long. He bothers Russell a little bit. I'm not saying he can stop him. I'm just saying, trust me.
Okay, so instead of 40, he might score 35. I mean, well, look. Okay, Danny, no disrespect, because I like my man Danny Green.
He can defend now.
He can defend all he wants to. He ain't can defend no Russell Westbrook. Let's pump the brakes a little bit on that one. Let's not get too excited. Danny Green. I like Danny Green, but you got me saying his name funny when you talk about him guarding Russell Westbrook. Don't you start no nonsense like that.
I'm starting.
I mean, you said Danny Green in the same breath that you said Thiago Splitter.
No.
I mean, come on now. Just
okay. But here's the problem for the Spurs. If you put Danny Green on Russell and Tony's on the floor, Tony Parker, who's he going to guard?
Well, listen,
Durant,
I'm not debating that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, don't tell me there's somebody that can guard Russell Westbrook. And by the way, Billy Donovan, congratulations to him for his first win. And I love the fact that he has both Monty Williams and Mo Cheeks as his assistant.
Yep.
It's a beautiful, beautiful coaching staff. I'm very happy. Very happy.
And Enes Kanter was the difference off the bench. 16 points. Come on, limited time. 15 points, 16 rebounds.
Dion Waiters was the difference off the bench. He made the two biggest shots of the game. He
got a lot of heart. He's got a lot of heart. And I'm glad to see him getting a little loose out there, too, because he waited for this opportunity, and he deserves it, to be quite honest with you. So I like seeing him in Oklahoma City. Enes Kanter, he can't guard anybody, but he can score.
The next time he defends somebody will be the first time.
That's right. He can score.
Next
he can
question.
score, though.
Whatever.
Yeah.
The people out there are with me. Let's get to the late game haters.
You think so?
The Timberwolves beat the Lakers 112-111 last night at